Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. I have a special visitor down here today, Ross, and he's brought the Auction Ficus.
We're going to work on the Auction Ficus today. We're going to expose the aerial roots here and cross our fingers. Hopefully we're going to get lots of good results.
That'll be interesting. So Ross has owned this tree in December. It'll be coming up a year now, which is incredible. The tree looks fantastic. So what have you been doing to the tree in the meantime, Ross?
Well, it was already potted up, and I wanted to grow some aerial roots back here. So in January, under artificial light, I gave it lots of humidity, made sure the roots were, it was fairly root bound, which also helped. Gave it lots of humidity, lots of light, lots of foliage.
Yeah.
And I put sphagnum moss around the back at the start in January. For about 2 months I left it packed in there and removed the sphagnum moss, and I found there was 5 really good strong roots coming out of one spot.
Nice. Which
is a good start. So I packed it back up again, but this time I put in bonsai soil, and we're going to reveal it today, and hopefully it'll be packed full of roots.
Yeah, because it used to have that stone on the one side to kind of...
That's right.
There was no roots on the one side of the tree, and it looked...
But it looks amazing with that rock, and I was fighting whether or not I should just keep that rock there, because it looked amazing with it.
Right.
And I could always use that rock if I wanted to do a root over rock, fit it back in there and put these roots over top of it.
Over top of it
I could do that.
Possibility.
But
yeah.
I'm hoping to get a full set of roots that I can.
Yeah, and if they thicken up like these roots on this side, you don't need a rock.
That's right. It'll take. How long would it take to thicken that thick thing?
If you grow it in a fairly large pot, you let the roots run.
Yeah.
You could get a root that thick in probably 3 years.
Really, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that's another thing. Today we're going to repot this into a bigger seed tray, yeah. a really thick one, so it'll have lots of room. Again, this is in the progression stage. I have lots of time to develop the secondary branches and the tertiary branches and the foliage while I'm developing the roots. So. It's a project that'll take several years, but that's the plan anyway.
I was saying to Ross, we should try and make this like a world-class tree, not a mediocre kind of okay ficus. I think the goal should be to really develop it into something special, and I think it has the basic branch structure to do that. It's got that banyan-style branch structure. I've seen a lot of ficus that are growing against a rock like that, and then in a few years they swallow the rock up totally and you don't even see the rock. So there's probably no point putting a rock there, because it will eventually thicken up and that rock will just be covered in roots and you won't even see it. You
got to think long term. So again, we're crossing our fingers and hopefully we'll expose a lot of roots today.
And rocks get heavy. It's a root over rock planting. They look fantastic, but when you go to lift them, they get pretty heavy. And so that's why I don't have a lot of root over rock plantings, because they're heavy. Okay, so yeah, the tree looks fantastic. It's healthy. You've done a bit of thinning in the canopy.
I did.
Because it just grew in really dense.
In the middle of the summer, it was just had so much foliage. And you want to let the foliage grow out if you're growing aerial roots to help bring energy into the tree, but it just was so much and there was no light getting through, so I thinned it out a little bit. But we'll be doing a lot of work to the top of it today too.
Yeah, we might even be doing some hard pruning. We've talked about it off camera.
Some serious cuts might be coming up, so that's okay. I'm fine with that because I got years away. I have years of development going on down here, so I can afford that up top. I can do as much work to it as I want, and they branch out and they bud back very, very well, so I have no problem doing a hard cut on it.
Yeah, and especially in a bigger pot, it's going to have a ton of vigor, and it'll just, if you cut this branch, it just explodes in new growth. And
one thing I might want to do this winter is put more artificial light towards the side of it. One problem with artificial light is a lot of it comes from the top only, and the branches tend to go straight up like this, and that might have been what caused this straightening to happen, because all my artificial light was straight up.
Yes.
Outside in the summer, I was getting light everywhere, but I think this summer I've got some lights that are on spotlights that I can put anywhere. Right?
I was telling Connor the ideal grow light situation would be to have one angled here, one on top, and one angled over here. It kind of follows the arc of the sun. So this would be like the morning light, afternoon light, and evening light. And to program them, so this comes on in the morning, and then it fades to this one, and also the intensity, so it increases intensity throughout the day.
Well, he'll figure out a way to do that.
And they do that with those aquariums, terrariums, and aquariums. They have that light, which actually changes the wavelength of the light and the intensity of the light throughout the day, and you can program it. So there are lights out there like that. It's time we got Bonsai onto that kind of scientific schedule, I think, or scientific make use of technology. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. Is you need the almost like the 180 degrees of lighting on it.
Especially if you want more branching that's horizontal. I'm trying to, especially the initial branching, I want to have more horizontals and spreading out. So I'll do a better job with the lighting this winter and have it more. And the pot you can move, and the lights you can move, and you can have a little more sunlight all the way around.
Yeah, even if you have a window here, you can. It helps to get light in.
Yeah, like your plant room is perfect for that. You get some in from the side.
Supplement it with natural light. Yeah, the problem with artificial lighting is that all the highest branches get the most intensity of light, and the lower ones get less. And it's kind of the opposite. Sometimes you want to develop the lower branches; they're the weakest ones. So it's kind of that's what makes indoor growing so difficult, I think. Is
that's one thing I like about the spotlights, though. I put them on reading lamps, and you can adjust the reading lamp up and down and tilt and swivel. And these are spotlights, growing lamps, but they're spotlights. So you can put them at any angle you want.
Is that the ones with the clamps on them?
I've got one like that, but these are just you screw into a regular reading lamp, and I've got a couple of reading lamps, and you just raise and lower it and move it around and position it wherever you want. You change it every day if you want.
Because I saw a photographer who he uses for lighting his studio. He uses the cheapest lights from the big box stores. Puts an LED light in it, and they have the clamps, and you can clamp it anywhere to get perfect lighting, like a hair light, and front lights, and it's a really cheap lighting solution. So it might work on Bonsai too. Something to consider.
I know some people use the clip-on lights for some cascading to get LED plant lighting right down the whole cascade of the tree.
I see.
Seen some people do that.
Good idea.
So there's a lot of really good lighting out there.
Yeah, I don't think the one overhead light is the best solution.
No, and I think that's probably what caused this. It seems like such a thick root that how could it? But there's so many branches coming off of it,
and they all go vertical.
And they're all going vertical, and it had to bend that up. I think that's what happened there. I don't like that straight vertical rise right here. And if you look in the videos of the past, it's more horizontal.
I see.
And it had to. That's the only thing I can think of is that it just grew straight up.
Well, yeah, a lot of trees they tend to grow. Horizontal branches kind of grow up towards the light eventually,
and it's too thick to really bend down. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, you could bend it down, but I find you have to use big heavy wire, and to get it to stay, you're going to have wire scars. And those, I don't know. I've seen very old ficus, and you can still see the wire marks on them. And
it takes many years to. I did put some wire on here. I put wire on the new crown.
Just to get it over a bit, eh?
To bend it over towards the middle more.
Yeah. This one's really grown. So this was just a shoot about this big.
Yeah.
When it went up for auction.
Yeah.
My intention was, the person who owns it to grow that up as something on the top of the tree, because all the branches are spreading outwards, and there was nothing in the middle of the tree. So this was the best solution. And I'm glad Ross got the tree, because he grew this up, and now the tree has kind of the start of a crown on it, rather than just spreading branches with nothing in the middle. So So it's good to see it thicken up like that. It's about half the size it needs to be, or maybe a quarter the size, but it's getting there. It's really doing well.
And that was part of the reason in the middle of the summer it was so dense foliage. I wanted to give this crown more
light
room
to that. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Everything was interfering, and but I didn't want to cut it back too hard because again I wanted to develop the roots. That was my main goal.
Yes, the roots first. Yeah. And that's kind of on bonsai. You've got to prioritize what you want to do. Like the number one thing on this tree was lacking was roots on that side. So Ross has corrected that. Then you look at, once that's fixed, then you look at the next thing, and that was the apex, and this is being corrected, and now the branches. And so you've just got to always be reevaluating your trees every year, see what's the most important thing to do to your tree, and then set about fixing one thing at a time. And eventually you'll end up with something fantastic.
Well, today we're probably going to fix about 3 or 4 things
maybe
all at once.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get started.
Yep, let's do it. Let's expose this and see what's underneath.
All right, so Ross has got this plastic tied on, so he's going to untie the twine.
You can help me. You can start at the top.
All right.
I'll start down here.
All right.
We'll reuse these, I think, because we're probably going to pack it back up again. Might have to cut this one or not.
That one came undone.
Good. Oh yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, you do the honors, Ross.
Okay, well, I think
remove some plastic.
Oh, you know what? I'd like to reuse our soil, so I've got
put a tray in.
Do you have a tray? I've got one if you don't have one.
No, I've got one.
But I want to mix in some fresh soil with this, but reuse it.
Okay, here comes the big moment.
Now, the reveal.
The reveal. Well,
ooh, it looks like success.
I see roots.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're growing the way we want. But
they probably aren't, but we'll fix that too. As long I see lots of roots growing here, but again, those 5 roots that were already started, I directed those straight down or
hoping
on a bit of an angle.
Have thickened up, eh?
Yeah, so these might be sprouts from that, or else they're new ones. But
yeah.
We'll rake away all this gravel and we'll find out.
Okay. So do you want to move the sphagnum moss first?
Yeah, let's put that somewhere.
Try and gently. It's got roots growing into it.
Oh, that's a good sign.
Yeah, like the area you wanted to grow your roots in, and it worked quite well.
I think I even, like when I had root hormone, water soluble for anything new collected, I sometimes would put a little bit of that in here, root hormone.
I see. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I started doing it on things that I collected in the spring that had absolutely no roots on them, so I figured that's a good way to get them to start.
Yeah.
Wow, is this ever packed full of roots?
Yeah.
Still, it's hard to tell. There's a lot of fine roots.
Yeah,
but
we don't want the fine ones. Well, they're good, but we hope there's some thicker ones.
Yeah,
here.
it's hard to tell where they're coming from.
Well, these ones are definitely coming from the above.
Yeah, some of the ones I had, I just gave us a small pull to get them out of the pot.
There, that came up.
Okay.
So they're over here.
And we're repotting this too, so I'm wondering if maybe we should take it out of the pot before we finish raking out these, because like I said, so many are going into the pot. Maybe it would help to get the pot out of the way.
Yeah, I'll get a mister so we can keep these misted.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay, here goes the misting. This is rainwater.
Yeah, you always want to make sure it's not the soap.
No, this isn't the soap.
Yeah, roots don't like the soap too much.
That should keep them good.
Good. All this...
wow, what a change, eh? Look at that. It's just amazing. It's transformed this tree.
It gives you an idea of what it'll look like in the future.
Yeah.
I think all this soil, I might have to sift it. I'll mix some fresh soil into it, but I'd like to use some of it. Transfer
so
some
it's kind of gone. This trunk was always slanting and then went up, and now you're going to kind of make it look more symmetrical and more like an established tree. It'll look really nice. And maybe as you say, tuck some of these in, have some of them vertical. some on the angle to match this, and
so all these fine roots, they're going to die off, and what we'll be left with is just the major roots.
Yeah.
And those are what we want. When we repot this, we want to plant them in the angle that we want them in the finished presentation. So
yeah.
So that's important. But all these feeder roots, these are going to die off over time.
Yeah. Well, let's get the pot out.
Yeah, and we'll get the soil out of the way.
Maybe before we do that, let's just have a look at the tree and see if there's any, reevaluate the styling. Like, now that we have roots on that side, or you have roots on that side, we can take a look at the tree and just see if there's a better front. Maybe there is, you never know. Wow, it really changed it. Wow, that's amazing. It looks fantastic. There's the front of the tree, or the present front anyway. I have a feeling we'll still be using that as the front, but
I think so. I think maybe adjusting the angle a little bit.
You never know. Definitely not there.
Should get rid of all this soil, and I'll save that too. I brought a sifter. I'll sift a whole bunch of it out.
I do like this sort of 3/4 on view is nice. It does have the branch coming out front, but let me just show it to you, Ross. The trunk looks good from that view.
Yeah.
Sort of, instead of being straight on a little bit of an angle, I think it...
Yeah, that's definitely the best angle for the roots, for the root base. You kind of lose the crown a little bit behind this branch.
Yeah.
But we were talking about, I was thinking about removing this branch from here up anyway, the vertical part.
Right.
Show that.
Well, let's...
like this vertical part from here up. You know, we're talking about chopping it right here, and possibly this one about here.
Cuts, yeah.
You know, so that'll expose the crown more from the front. So we'll get rid of all that. I do like seeing the crown directly from the front, kind of splitting these two branches right up the middle, and we can even adjust these roots to suit that front a little bit. That's not a bad.
Yeah.
It's a little more symmetrical, but
I think it's still the best front, which is just slightly offset the present front. I think. I think for now, yeah, and then, you know, keep evaluating it, because you may develop really nice roots back here eventually too.
Yeah. Yeah, because we're planning today to, I guess, straighten all this out once we repot it and repack this, but with much lighter soil. I think I'll probably add a little more perlite into it than the mix in the pot. But we can sort these out, and
even plastic would work on there.
Plastic.
If you cover the new roots with a plastic sheet.
Oh, okay.
And don't put soil around them.
Oh, you think? Yeah.
Yeah, it'll keep enough humidity in here that they'll do fine.
Yeah.
As long as you have a hole for misting.
Okay, so you don't need to repack it like I did, maybe.
Probably not.
Okay. And especially
as long as we can get all the tips into the soil and keep them humid, I think, you know, plastic around here will work just fine, and that way you can keep an eye on them.
Yeah. And it's only going to stay outside. It'll probably be in the shade for a few weeks, but after today, but it'll be coming inside shortly, so it won't get that intense heat on those roots. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And you can always, as I say, always put a tinfoil cover on here.
Yeah.
To keep them in the dark.
If it's hot.
Just when you want to inspect, if it's too much sun, or if you want to inspect them.
Okay. So.
Yeah,
that'd be simpler.
Yeah, I think.
And it's nice to see the roots.
Only, like, maybe if you want more roots to grow in here, then maybe you would want to pack some soil or moss in that area.
Yeah.
But I think these are developed enough that they're...
Yeah, because it would be nice to get... There's some roots happening down near the bottom and some up top, but right in the middle.
Yeah, right there. Now they will, as they thicken up, they'll fill in that space. Yeah. But, okay, yeah, I think that's a good plan. So let's get out the pot now and see how it looks.
Great.
Here is the pot that Ross is going to put the ficus in. So it's a really sturdy, doubled up seed tray pot with holes in it and mesh. So it's just a little bit wider than the current pot. It's a lot longer to encourage the roots left and right to grow and not so much front and back. And he's got all kinds of good soil here. So I think, Ross, we are all ready.
Ready to reveal the roots?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it.
All right. Here we go. Let's take it out of the pot.
Yeah, see if we can pull it straight out. You pull the tree, I'll hold the pot.
All right.
That?
Sounds good.
If that doesn't work, I can...
It's coming.
Is it?
Yeah.
Great. I'll get this out of the way.
Just like that.
Just like that.
So, wow.
Root bound. Yep.
Lots of roots. But it was a fairly small pot for it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start raking out the soil. And we'll try and bare root the tree, and then we'll get go in and do the root pruning. It's lunchtime. Ross brought a really nice vegan chili down.
Very healthy.
So good.
Lots of vegetables, beans. A little bit of spice.
Mushrooms. Peppers, wow.
Gives energy for this afternoon.
Yeah. Ross is preparing the pot. He's putting some hold down wires because he's got to transport this ficus back to his house. So got to make sure it's secure in the pot. He's got his soil mixed up. He's ready for repotting. We had a bit of a delay today, and you'll find out all about that in a upcoming video. So we were hard at work today, but I can't tell you what we were doing yet.
Top secret.
Top secret, a surprise, yeah. And I have to thank Ross very, very much for helping me out today.
Well, not a problem.
It was fantastic.
Thank you for helping me out.
Yeah. So we have the tree out, and we're going to do the root work on it now. Arranging all the roots, pruning any that aren't looking so good. I would probably, a root on top like that, there's two options. You can either use that as the extension of the root and prune off the rest of the root if you want taper in your root and change the direction, or you can prune off that top root and use roots develop further down. So it's up to you.
I think we might as well go with some taper to the root and
cut it off shorter.
Cut it off shorter.
That'll give you the nicest root system in the future.
Yeah, keep it compact.
This is, even though it's not very long, there's a long section with no taper and no kind of movement or anything there. So I think, so you have to be very careful you don't break this root off. This root lives. It'll probably form more, but yeah, so I would do a cut horizontal with the ground level for a bit of dieback. And I would cut it, make sure your cut is parallel to
like horizontal to the...
Yes, like you've got it, yeah. You've got a Pontiac.
Right about there. It might
you
be
can go
a little
even closer, yeah. About there, yeah. And roots never cut well with pruners.
No.
There's something about roots being wet and damp. So you might have to come in. Try it with these scissors. They're pretty good.
There we go.
Yeah. So that, you've got the one, and then I would keep this as your other extension, and it's too long. So I would, again, you've got good movement here. I'd probably prune it about halfway through there. And if you disagree with me on anything, just say.
I wish I had bigger cutters. These are the only ones I have.
It's working. I think they're big enough. You can nibble away at it, eh?
Yeah.
That's going to help. And if you want to try the, I use like rubber cement as sealant. If you want to try that on the root, I think it'll help it.
Sure.
You get less bleeding and less chance of rot.
Okay.
I've used it a couple of times and it seems to work really, really well.
Oh, good.
It's actually, and I get it at the surplus store, so it's really, really cheap.
It's even better. Yeah, I never heard of that method. That's...
Well, it's flexible. Waterproof, flexible, and yeah, clear. and it makes a good cut paste.
There's just a little edge here. I'm gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, that was quite a root under there, wasn't it? Well, that's certainly an improvement, isn't it? I'll get the cut paste now, and we'll seal it up. So here goes the cut paste, which is just rubber cement. Yeah, probably best to use your finger and smear it on like that. You just need a thin layer.
It's pretty goopy stuff.
Yeah. It stays flexible, so it's seals.
Hard to tell if I have it all on there. It's so clear, but I think I got it.
Yeah, it'd be better probably a colored one, wouldn't it? So that glue is dry already. It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
It's only a minute or two.
Yeah. Okay, so so the soil's going in the new pot.
So I'm gonna put about a little less than an inch on the bottom.
Yeah, I think that would get it to a nice height. And if we have to mound the soil up a bit,
okay,
I always do that, and then when the tree's established and growing, you can rake away that surface soil, get it back down to the correct level. Again, better safe than sorry. Make sure those roots are in the soil, and that's probably good there, I would think.
You think?
Let's just level it out a bit.
Is that light enough, do you think? I added a fair bit of perlite into it.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think if you watch your watering, that, you know, I would say this is as dry as you'd want the soil to go.
Yeah.
And then you'd want to water it and let it dry out to this level again. Which you can kind of tell by the color of it. It usually goes a lighter color when it starts drying out. You just have to be careful that it's not dry on the surface and wet on the bottom with these shallow trays. So I mist them. If it's drying out on the top layer, I mist it. And then if I notice after misting that it dries out within the next half hour, you know the soil is dry underneath, sucking up the water.
Oh, okay.
So if you mist it and it stays wet for a couple hours, you know
it's already
wet underneath.
Oh, okay. That's a neat idea. Never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's get the tree in position.
Let's do it.
All right. Here it comes. This is so exciting. Okay, you can do the honors.
Okay.
So just when you place it down, try and get all the roots out you can. And I can try and hold this side if you set her down.
Okay.
Nice. Here is a look at the tree. This is the position in the new kind of training pot. I think it's looking pretty good. You can see that root flare now, how it's not one-sided anymore. It's really incredible, actually. That's awesome. I think that's going to do it, Ross.
Yeah, I like it.
I think, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, there might be some more tweaking.
Sure.
But I think that's good for now. I think it looks really good.
I like the position, yeah.
Let's add some soil.
I've got to trim off a few of these roots that are hanging over.
Yeah.
But I'm straightening them all out. Make sure they're radial from the root base.
That's good. That looks
good. Trim
good.
off all these.
Trim the ones at the edges. And most of them are pretty good, aren't they? I guess because it was in a smaller pot. But so I would recommend, if you can, when it's cool at night, to bring it in and then bring it out in the morning if you can. To keep it warm until, because the roots won't grow when it's cool out.
Right, okay.
So you'll need...
I could even put a heating pad underneath it.
That would be really good. Then you could leave it outside if you do that.
I might do that, okay.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
Good.
Ross is using the soil scoop that Bruce made out of a bottle, which is really cool. So he's going to start adding the soil now. An exciting part. Look at that. So I usually add like a fairly shallow layer, and then I kind of work it in a bit, add some more, work it in. Okay. That way you don't get any big air pockets.
Yeah.
You kind of... Now, are you happy with these roots? We've gone to... I think we should arrange these a bit more. So I think we want to fan them out. So there's some vertical ones, some spreading out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's looking really nice. So Ross is just tying the tree down using the wire and the tubing around it to protect the roots. So he's just going to leave this on sort of temporary until the roots kind of get established, and then he'll take it off so it doesn't leave wire marks across the root or anything. It is getting dark out. We've got a light out there to help us see. Ross is working away, filling the soil in around the roots. Tree is looking fantastic.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Yeah. Wow, what a difference. Nice work, Ross, getting those roots to grow on that side. That was really good.
I just hope they continue to develop. Now that they're in the soil, they should be nice and safe to continue to grow.
Yeah, and we put that plastic around them.
Yeah. I'm mounting it up a little bit around these just to give them a little more support. I think it's time for a water.
Okay, I think so too. So the plan is to keep the foliage on the top until the root system recovers, because if we did any hard pruning up top, it would just cut the growth of the tree down to zero for a while until it starts growing again. So I think the first priority right now is to get the roots growing, recovered in the new pot, and then once everything's recovered, then we'll tackle the top of the tree, which could be pretty severe in parts. Yes, that'll be an interesting video.
I like that plan.
Yeah. Okay, Ross, here you go with the watering. The first water with the repot. Tilt her up even more. There you go. There, look at that, eh? Nice and gentle, but a fast flow rate. Like
it is, very fast.
Yeah. Like you're putting out a lot of water, but it's so gentle.
That's incredible. It's already coming through the bottom.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you want to, I'd run that whole can through it. Flush all the dust out of the soil and the fine particles. And so we've put the plastic wrap in place so you can see the hole for watering up here. It'll hold moisture in, keep all those roots nicely hydrated while they thicken up. And Ross is going to put the sphagnum moss around the bottom of the bag here to kind of seal it so it's even more kind of airtight, so it keeps the humidity in there. And that should work quite well to thicken up and make these roots woody in the future. So that is the repot. It's looking quite finished. Just in time. It's getting dark out. There's Ross spraying the tree, misting it, and you can see how dark it's getting out. The sun is set. We're in blue hour. There's a final shot of the Auction Ficus, repotted once again. This is it's been repotted once in the every year for the last 3 years.
Is that right? Okay.
So that's I think so.
Yeah. Is that, yeah, I think Mike did it in
Mike
the fall.
did it.
You did it in the fall.
I did it
now.
And now in fall again.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Yeah, so I would say it could probably stay in that pot without root pruning for 2 years now, I would say. Maybe even 3. Depends how much growth you get. If you get super vigorous growth, maybe not quite so long, but
I think it'll grow very vigorously if it's anything like this past summer, and with a bigger pot, like next winter, next summer, it'll grow very, very fast.
Yeah, that's cool. Off to the car it
Back
goes.
in the car it goes.
Yeah. Here we go. Well, Ross, we got the tree repotted. It's dark out. Got everything loaded back in the car.
Yeah.
I think that's a big step ahead for that tree.
Definitely is. It's progressed a lot today, and it's got a great future ahead of it. I'm very happy with.
I think so. I think you're turning a tree that, you know, it's old. That's one thing about that tree, is that it's old. Yeah. And it's just going to keep getting better, that tree.
Yeah. We worked really hard on it today, and it got dark on us pretty fast, but we got a lot done. I
put Ross to work on this secret project, which took a lot more time than I expected. So
No, I was happy to help.
Sorry we didn't get a full day, Ross. But
no, I think it's a once in a lifetime opportunity we had today. So that was awesome.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
the bonsai gods were on our side today, weren't they?
They were.
So yeah, you'll see that in a future video. What we, instead of working on Ross's tree, we're out, and you'll see that soon. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Ross is going to visit another time soon, maybe like a week from now, and we're going to continue working on some of his trees, and he's going to help me with the plant room, and yeah, all kinds of stuff coming up. So that is all for today, Ross. We are done. So thanks for watching today in the Bonsai Zone.